Okay, one more practice video here, first period, for identifying variables. Basically what we did in class yesterday after our notes is we took a look at some different experiments that have been done in the past by 7th graders and 8th graders, and I did change the names to protect their privacy, but I wanted to give us a little bit of practice at identifying the variables in actual experiments. So remember, the IV is what is purposely changed by the experimenter. The DV is where the data will come from, in other words, what we will measure along the way. And the CVs are the things that we need to make sure stay the same as experimenters in order to provide us with a fair experiment. Okay. In this experiment here, it reads, Tom planted bean seeds in 3 rectangular shaped containers. The ends of 10 seeds were pointed up, 10 seeds were pointed down, and 10 more seeds were pointed sideways. All the seeds were then covered with soil. So if we're looking at this experiment and trying to identify what Tom purposely did different in his experiment, what we can see is that Tom was changing the direction in which he pointed his seeds. So again, here we have 3 bean seed containers. Container 1, ends are planted up. Container 2, ends pointed down. Container 3, ends pointed sideways. So our IV shows that Tom, on purpose, planted his seeds in different directions. The independent variable is the direction in which Tom planted his seeds. He did that differently each time on purpose. Okay. Again, with the same experiment, for our DV, what we're looking for is what Tom would be measuring throughout his experiment having to do with the directions the seeds were planted. If he's planting them in different directions, what about those seeds will he be measuring? At the end of this test and throughout this test, Tom will be observing and measuring how those plants are growing. Maybe he's measuring how tall they're growing or how fast they're growing or just the overall health. But he's making observations and measurements on the general growth of those plants. And lastly, what we're left with is our last variable, the control variables. And plural, because the more we can come up with, the more accurate and reliable and fair our experiment will be. So the control variables are all those things that Tom has to be careful that he keeps the same in regard to this experiment. He's planting the bean seeds in different directions, but he needs to make sure he's using the same bean seeds. Not only the same bean seeds, but the same amount of seeds in each container. Speaking of the containers, they all should be the same shape. In addition, the seeds are covered with soil. They better be covered with the same amount of soil, same type of soil, and just some other ones here that we thought of yesterday. Same amount of light, same temperature, same type of water, same amount of water, same temperature of water. All these things have to be kept the same as Tom grows his seeds in order to make sure that this test and experiment is fair. At the end of this experiment, again, his goal is just to get an answer to that question: does the direction a seed is planted affect the growth of the bean?